What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new series, Mock Draft Monday. Every Monday, we go on ESPN Mock Draft Lobby, and we're going to do a 12-person PPR mock salary cap draft. It's the same thing as an auction draft. Um, what I recommend doing is for any mock draft you do, or your actual draft, open up the cheat sheet next to you with whatever values you like, just to make sure you stay on budget. And we'll hop into this one. So you can get this in the description below. It's updated every week. It also includes, kind of a price tracker that will show over time as it gets closer to the season what players are trending up and down in price. All right, so let's get into this. Now, these are the best way to, get ready for your league. I recommend doing a couple of these before your draft. Just super beneficial. There's a lot of stuff that you can learn, especially right now. I mean, recording this August 11th, and this is 100% filled. We don't have any auto drafters. As of now, we might, people might leave. They might forget to join. So there's, that can always happen. I will say the algorithm, or in terms of the bidding that the auto drafters do this year, is much more, I would say, human-like. In the past, it would just go to this number here, their average auction value, and just do that. So every player was going to at least their value because they're just coded to bid up to that amount. Now, even with an auto drafter, even having their full budget or the majority of their budget, um, it's still, they'll bid on most players, but they won't automatically make them go to their, average auction value. They will, stop a couple bucks below, stuff like that. So that's a little bit nicer, a little more, human like. Not every league is, players are going for exactly their amount every single time. I mean, that's the reason you're doing this. You're gonna see what players people like, what players people don't, and some other strategies. So I'm going first here, and my strategy is always to nominate a player who I think's, overpriced and not super expensive. So I mean, right here, I'm going to start with T Higgins. His price is at $38. Keeps going up. He's not a player I'm really looking for. I mean, I got him average auction value for him. I have $26. Make sure to check my other video, my latest one. Just talks about why I'm kind of out on Higgins at his price. I mean, I think he's a great player. He's got a horrible injury history. He's young. $37 for a player. I mean, I just think there's better players in that range. I'd rather personally, have a Lad McConkey, and if we're doing, we don't think he's gonna get injured, then I'd rather have Tyreek Hill. It's like, see, $40 off the bat. That's good. 40 less dollars this person has to spend. So, I mean, Bijan, I think he's fairly priced. I got him as the RB2 this year. I think his value's fair, $66. If you really want him, you can definitely pay more. It's really important. At least what I've found is you want to leave these auction drafts with the bulk of your money spent on 2-3 players. Get some high end talent. You can see right off the bat, both players so far have gone for well above their average auction value. You see $70 on Bijan. So I mean, right now in drafts, kind of what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of value at the wide receiver position. Kind of in the middle and to the end of drafts. This is probably the deepest the wide receiver position has ever been in fantasy, in my opinion. There's just so much talent. Um, Even into the $40 range, $30 range, there's great players. So it's $64 on Justin Jefferson. Get that price up a little bit. $66. I mean, I have him at 265. So I mean, it's not huge off. I just think we'll be able to get some better value a little later on. I don't really go into these with a set strategy on specific players. It's more so make sure I'm getting players that fit in my range, that I'm comfortable paying with. Like McCaffrey here, I got him at $63. I mean, $66 right now. I'll let that go. It's a good player. I mean, it's not a. These are all fair prices. You're not seeing anything crazy yet. Just kind of wondering, if Justin Jefferson goes for 66, how much Jamar is going to go for. Um, I've seen him go for consistently in like that $70 to $73 range. I think it's a little much, but he did a crazy season last year. So he's already at $70 right now. And like I say with this cheat sheet here, these are my values. But what I always recommend you can do is, you know, download a copy. There, then you can edit, the numbers in here, to put in the numbers you're comfortable with, and work off of that. This is just a good thing to see, like kind of, I mean, who you're high on, who you're not on, who you should nominate. You should probably nominate players that you aren't super high on. Get other people wasting their money before you start spending. So Brock Bowers here. Tight end position is really weird this year. Gonna be a video coming out later this week talking about specifically $1 tight ends and kind of what the approach is to them this year. Yeah, $43. I mean, Bowers, he produced last year, but I mean, $43 is just too much, especially now with all these elite players still on the board. No Gibbs. Gibbs could be a good one here. We're seeing a lot of these players go for above their average auction value, which isn't. I mean, it's not rare. Typically, players that are in the beginning of drafts are a little more expensive. So I'm cool. I'm going up to $64 here. 65. I mean, I'll pass for now. I think there's some really good players in that range. And we can see here we already have one person who's almost out. They can't really been anywhere players. They went with Higgins and Robinson, Bijan. So they don't have as much. I'm high on Saquon Barkley. He's my running back one this year. People are worried about the touches coming off this many touches, but I mean he is 1 year with this new team, and he's the best running back in the league. So I'll go $66. I really want to make sure we get some top tier players. Yeah, 68. I'll leave it 67. All right, so we got Puka. So Puka, I'm a little ahead of the market. I have him at about $61. He can stay healthy. I mean, he's wide receiver one potential. As of now, it's not looking good with Matthew Stafford. Didn't return to practice today like he was expecting. So hopefully that gets figured out. These values will change as it gets closer to the season. All right, so we got Puka, $60. Completely cool with that. You really want to spend early. You don't want to be that person with the middle of the draft with all the money. You might get some value, but it's going to be on players. That they're not going to win your league most likely. With these type of players, you get kind of you get that elite ceiling potential, but you also get that safe floor. That's why they're so expensive. So Ashton Genty, I'm not as high on him right now. I'm about $7 below average auction value. As you can see, I mean, running backs in this draft are going for a ton. That's something you want to pick up on. So when it comes to nominating, maybe nominate a running back that you think is overpriced, that somebody else will pay above their average auction value. You got CD. I'm high on CD this year. I have him as a wide receiver too. Price tag at $65 is kind of what I think he's valued at. I see him going for a lot in drafts right now. But anything below that auction value of $65, I'm cool with. Hopefully we get him at 63. Looks like we're paying with one other person. Yeah, he bid again. I'll pass on this for now. Good player, $64. It's a fair price. We got Achan. I'm not as high on this year. I don't think he's a bad player, but offense can be dysfunctional at times. Issues staying healthy with Tua, and he's just not the same with Tua on the field. So we'll let someone else get him. Most likely, he's at just about his average auction value. All right, so it's my turn to nominate again. A player Player I'm not super high on this year. Where is he? Um, Devontae Adams, $35. We'll get him up. Still a lot of hype for him. He's going for he's going for around his auction value. If you can just get anywhere near that, I'm cool with that. I would it's 35 less dollars. Someone else has to compete with me with. Yeah, you see right now he's at $38. And this is a strategy I like. Help drain people's budgets, and avoid players you don't want. It's always good. Some league neighbors. I'm high on league neighbors this year. Or I'm high on him, but compared to his average auction value, I'm just about at that amount. So we'll pay up to $60 here. See if we can get him done. Yeah, 59. I'll do 60. I really think the wide receiver position this year is really good. So I like to get maybe one or two guys early, and then just get some other guys. There's some really good $1 players as well. All right, so we got Puka and league neighbors. Currently have a budget right now of $80. Now, a lot of people might get nervous, say, "Oh, only got $80. Just started." Yeah, I mean, there's some teams here, that have $200 that have 168, and I mean, they're gonna be looking at their team soon. Like, you know, yeah, they have a lot to spend, but I mean, I'd rather have confirmed, locked in top tier talent than a bunch of average players. There's a lot of chance to a lot of these $1 players you'll see year over year they end up finishing top 24 at the position, top 12, top 5. I mean, we have Puka on our team who was undrafted in most leagues. Waiver wire is huge, so having a lot of average players. I mean, depth is great and all, but I mean, you really want the bulk of your money spent in that starting slot. So Trey McBride, I have him just right around Brock Bowers at $36. I typically don't see myself getting these tight ends in auction, mock drafts right now. Um, I think it is great to have an elite tight end, but we have a flex spot. Um, there's some other tight ends I think are good that are much cheaper. You can make it up with other positions. So right now with these other players, I mean, we're not really nominating or not really bidding on any of them unless we can get them for really good prices. You still want to be, paying attention because you never know when someone could, get nominated. Like Lad McConkey, and his price ends up being like $22. And despite only having 80, I mean, $22 for McConkey, I mean, it's a great deal. So Nico Collins comes up here. I'm a big fan of Nico this year. I got him about $58. Has some injury issues recently. But then again, I mean, he's when healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the league in fantasy. Huge target share, good quarterback. $54, good price. It's under what I currently have him for, but you can't have every elite player. You don't want to be going to your draft saying I have to have these players. You want to go in and just get players that fit your budget that you're comfortable paying. Same with Brian Thomas. Huge on Brian Thomas this year. I think there's some great value in that. That mid to low 50 range. Yeah, $50 is a great deal. AJ Brown. I'm still high on AJ Brown. I think the Eagles will have to pass a little bit more this year. Their defense is just not what it was before. Um, Also comes a little bit of injury risk, but he's currently right now in training camp. He's actually dealing with something. So I don't really like going into the season with soft tissue injuries lingering. It's never a good idea. So we got Josh Jacobs. I mean, just based on kind of how the draft's going, I'm assuming we might be doing maybe a zero running back for this draft. Just I find a lot of the value of kind of the middle range running backs to be a little too much, and going with two elite players, quarterback, or most likely be going with a cheaper quarterback. Want to make I want to go out of here with one more player in that that sub $40 range. Um, you just want to have. I really like having two high end players and another not quite top tier player, but can still finish high at that position. Like Chase Brown, I'm huge on Chase Brown. I currently have him at round around let's see, got him at around $45. I don't think we'll be able to spend up to 45, but we'll try that. Derrick Henry as well. I'm still high on him. I got him at $50. I mean, he's coming off a great year. I know age can be an issue, but I mean, he showed zero signs of, you know, um, regressing there. Yeah, we'll stop for now on him. He's going for about going for a little over his his AAV. We got Bucky Irving. I'm right at about consensus on him. Worried a little bit about Rashad White, Sean Tucker taking a little bit of the work, and Liam Cohen gone, but still good, young, great rookie year. But here's another reason why the strategy that I'm kind of doing right now works really well. You can get players like that off the waiver wire. So I like Chase Brown. I don't actually want to nominate him right now. I want some other people to bid up, lose their budget. So I'm going to go with a lot of times the first quarterback you nominate will go for a lot. That can help set the market too for the position. So I'll go Josh Allen here. I mean, I think quarterback's great. Just $34 is it's a lot. I'm not against it if you want to get him, but I wouldn't really want to spend about market on a QB and then see a lot of other positions go for much better values. So he goes for a little bit over his AV. I mean, this is good. Some people are out of it right now. This guy's $44. He's pretty much out. You can see here. We just want to see the max offers. I mean, max offers are starting to drop down a little bit. And see, we got Lamar nominated now. Good way to lower people's budgets. They don't like to bid on players when their value or when their remaining budget's lower. Currently, right now, we've been drafting for about about 15 minutes. Only got two players. No issue with that. This is kind of annoying, especially in mock drafts. Nominating kickers earlier just slows it down for everyone else. And I'm big on don't spend the money at kicker and defense. $1, $2 max. It's hard to predict these guys year over year. And yeah, so we'll see if Chase Brown comes up here. So another quarterback. So since we nominated Josh Allen, we now got Lamar nominated and Jaden Daniels. Just between the three of them, that should be nearly $100 in total values that are gone. The quarterback position is weird this year. I feel like there's four guys that are in the upper echelon. Hurts, Lamar, JD, and Josh Allen. And after that, it kind of drops off. So I'm going to be bidding here a lot on Chase Brown. His price has really been coming up lately. I mean, I'd be cool with spending. I mean, I'm cool with going up to. I mean, I have him here in our value at where is he at 45. I'm cool with going up to maybe like 42, 43 for this. I'm bidding against an auto drafter right now, so it's kind of hard to predict. Hopefully, I get him. All right, yeah. So we got our running back, Chase Brown. I mean, this is August 11th. We doing a mock draft Monday. In 2-3 weeks, and he's at $45, $50 AAV. He's just been, you can see on here the ESPN value tracker. He's been one of those guys that's just, his price has never dipped. It's just been constantly, either staying the same, going up, and then it really jumped this past week, $30 to $38. So a lot of people are also, really high on him. As you can see here, we can't bid on a lot of these players, so it won't even give us a chance. Price wise, prices are going for about what you'd expect them to. And I mean, a lot of these players, like when you look back on it, you can just say, I mean, $40 on T. Higgins, or $10 more on Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, it's always better to stay in your budget early. Maybe go a couple dollars over. So we got Jalen Hurts going here. Quarterbacks are all going for about their price. So I'm assuming he's going to go for about 33. But as you can see, the budget's left. I don't have the lowest. Certainly don't have the highest. But it's cool to know that, I got 3 players. They're my core. And if you can, find those cheap players, in that sub, $4 range, I mean, that can really win you your league, especially if, your good players, your big players, people you spend a lot of money on stay healthy. So you can see just between these 3 players, we spent $140, which is 70% of our budget. I think that's right? 70%? Yeah, it should be. See max offers here. Or 80% of our budget, sorry. 80%, sorry. Math's not that good right now. Who we got going? So Kyron Williams, I'm not really super high on Williams this year. He's not the most efficient runner. He just gets, a ton of carries. Gets a lot of touchdowns. But, when healthy, Puka is their go-to guy. And, they got Devontae Adams now, so, one of the best red zone targets, you can say of all time. Might see a little less, rushes from Kyron at the goal line. Yeah, $27. You're gonna see prices now start to really get close to maxing out at around their pre-draft average auction value. It's not a huge deal. See if we can snag some good players here. Players right now that I'm looking out on. I'm really trying to I can't really spend a lot of money on these $20. My max budget is $28, but that would mean every other player is $1. So, well, would love to get a Jigba, unless he's going for $10, I'm not gonna be able to get him here. So, in terms of this range of players, the only guys that I'm looking at, assuming going to their actual price, would be maybe Calvin Ridley. I'm high on him this year. Maybe Cortland Sutton. Rather than him, we're probably gonna be done here. So I'm trying to nominate a player right now who I think is going to generate the most amount of money spent. So see, he doesn't have a quarterback. He doesn't. I'm going to go quarterback here. Joe Burrow up there. Whoever has Higgins might be trying to bid on him. I'm not sure who has Higgins. But yeah, this draft, I get people more aggressive this draft early. Maybe not early, but on those top tier players. Not really seeing pretty much anybody go for more than $2 below their average auction value. So this person over here, he's going for Burrow. He got him. Yeah, so he's got nothing to spend. His max budget is $10 a player. It's pretty low, and he still has a lot of bench spots to fill. So we're doing pretty well right now. In a good spot. I want to get those top tier players. So ideally here, I like to do about $2 per bench spot. So that would be one, two, three, four, five. So 14. I like to do $1 on kicker, dollar on special teams. So we're at $16. So got about $22. Or no, we got 16, about 28, about 24 $24 to roughly get a quarterback, another running back, a tight end, and a flex. Assuming all the rest are what we said. Um, Garrett Wilson coming up. Yeah, I mean, so we get some good deals here, but I'd rather spend about their average, maybe save $1 on like a Puka than save a $3 on Garrett Wilson. Um, at the end of the day, these values, the second the draft's over, these values mean nothing. Um, so don't get caught up in how much you spent. More so, get caught up on your team, um, how you're gonna approach week one. Yeah, Kenneth Walker here, I like him. Some injury issues. He's got probably one of the best, backup running backs in the league. Although, he doesn't really give a lot of work unless he's hurt. So we got Sam Laporta, um, tight end. I mean, I'm not quite as high on him. I'm at about $7. While he's at 9. I think this draft what we're gonna end up doing is we might spend, $12 on that flex spot, get about a $2 quarterback, maybe like a Justin Fields or a Dak Prescott, and then just getting our guys that are on our bench. I'm probably gonna be targeting a lot of rookies on the bench. See who pans out. We got Chuba, $23. I mean, it's pretty $22, pretty fair price. And you can see this person here is an auto drafter. They didn't go early. They got by far the most money left, but you look at their team and they're Jonathan Taylor and Terry McLaurin's they're number two guys. I mean, you can have all these cheap players or all these players for good values on your team, and I mean you can only start the same as everybody else. So depth is important, but it's really it's overrated a lot of times. That's why you got to spend it early. Get your guys, get those high end players that can win you your league, and then be smart about all those cheaper players. And James Conner here, running backs this draft have been extremely expensive. Also, if you do any of these drafts, on ESPN specifically, don't pay attention to like the grade they give you at the end. They'll give you like a letter grade, like you took a test. It's not. Don't worry about that at all. It's a Brees Hall here. $20 fair. I mean, I'll bid $20. Get that other running back position filled. All right, so we got our main four. Got $20 left. We can bid $9 on one player if we want. Got kind of that main four. I like two elite wide receivers, another elite running back, and a running back who I think is underpriced in drafts this year. The Jets. They were a dysfunctional team last year. Brees Hall. It wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the year, Brees Hall finished second in the team in targets. There's just, I mean, after Garrett Wilson, there's not a lot to be excited about. So, Aaron Glenn, new head coach, new OC, both of which from Detroit. They're going to want to run the ball. Not super worried about, Justin Fields as a runner taking away attempts because, over the past couple of years, he's actually checked the ball down more than, you expect. Don't have the numbers on me now, but he does check the ball down. All right, so here I think we're going to go nominate. Who should we nominate? Let's do Xavier Worthy. I think he's up for priced. I'm assuming Rashi Rice is going to get a 3-game suspension. We just saw Jordan Addison DUI get only 3 games. Maybe Rice gets 4. Rice is a good player to have. You really got to be optimistic on your those first couple weeks you have without him, and then when's their bye week? Week 10. So I mean he's gonna be he's not he doesn't have the bye week in like week 4. Maybe get like a 5-game suspension. So I mean Rice at $15. It's good. You got to be you want to win those games before. I'm not saying you have to, but if you can get to the playoffs and you got Rashi Rice in your team, you're in a good spot. Assuming he does what he did last year, which he should. And I mean, typically what happens with these drafts are, as it gets on, we've been doing this for about a little less than a half hour. People might leave, um, and they still have a lot of money left over. Like this is the person, they just got Metcalf as well. They're trying to, get back there, but I mean, it's hard to compete with, the teams that have, multiple high end players. Marvin Harrison Jr. here. And I'm assuming this guy's going to be getting a lot of these players. So the draft, they got a lot of money left. I mean, if we're just looking at the teams now, um, I like Jose's scary team. Team 2, really, I'd say well rounded. Elite tight end, elite quarterback, solid wide receiver 1, and a solid wide receiver or running back 1. Don't have a lot of money left over, but they're one of the better teams. This team, I mean, don't look at those, but I mean, St. Brown's good, London's good, H.N.'s good. It's another good team. Victor's team, um, yeah, another solid team. He spent early, got Derrick Henry and C.D. Lamb. Um, Scott's team, yeah, the double elite running back. You probably want to get one of these wide receivers because I mean, this kind of dries up around this range. This is the team we were talking about earlier. I mean, it's just they waited too long. You can't really buy back your way. You can't buy your way back into this. So we got Kevin's. Kevin's a solid. Kevin went for more of like tier 2, 3 type heavy. So this is the equivalent of like in a snake draft. Instead of taking a first round pick, he's doing all second to third rounders, second to fourth rounders. It's not a bad strategy. I just find it valuable to get more of those high end elite players. So we got Florian's fantastic team. Solid team. Anchored around Jefferson and some other cheaper players. I mean, not a bad team by any means. So we got Josh Allen, Kyren Williams, Hampton, and Chase. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a solid team. Instead of going, elite at, the flex position. Get a couple players. He went with Chase, paid, $73, but then went up with the elite quarterback. Who else do we have here? So we got Jeremy's. So we got Saquon Barkley, one. That's $67. Yeah, this is a solid team. I don't know if I would have gone, Rushy Rice, having spent, already money on wide receivers. I probably would have rather, I think Rushy Rice fits into a team well that, has, two anchor running backs. Just because once Rice is healthy, you're going to take out one of these wide receivers that you like. Final team, we got Joe Burrow, Genty, Nico, Trey McBride. I mean, solid team. A little risky with Genty, but if it pays off, it could be really good. So we got Travion Henderson. I've been high on Travion all off season. He had a really good preseason game. Mainly as a returner, returned the first kick, 100 yards for a touchdown. I am slightly worried about Stevenson taking touches early, but I think, gets to the middle of the season, Patriots aren't doing well. They got a spark in the backfield. Let's get them the ball. So I got Courtland Sutton here. I just want to see again what my max budget is. It's at $9. So pass on him. Top players that I might be targeting. I might try to grab one more wide receiver, like Jacoby Myers. I'd be cool with. Pacheco and Tracy. I'd be cool with them at the flex. David Njoku. All right, so let's go with Zay Flowers. I'm not a Zay Flowers fan. Kind of just too inconsistent. Though he's still young. That's just in this range. I'd rather have Calvin Ridley. I'd rather have Tedero McMillan. Come on, if I get him for about $6. Yeah, that's cool. So we'll see right now who we're competing with mainly in terms of bids. So Victor's out of it. Varun is probably out of it. Jeremy's out of it. A couple of these players, Alexander's, they're one player away from being out of it. And there's just a lot of good, $1, $2, $1, $0 players that, I think are valuable to have. So Evan Ingram here. I like Ingram this year. I think he should be good. A lot of underneath stuff for Bo Nix. Yeah, $5. It's out of our range right now. Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy's interesting. Did well last year, but that was Jameis Winston throwing the ball 50 times a game. Now they got Joe Flacco. Could be good. I'd probably rather have him over a Devonta Smith or a Jalen Waddle. They're the number twos in their offense. Rather get a number one. And if you guys want to see more in depth videos when it comes to nominating, building out your roster, make sure to check out the channel. Got videos on that. We got videos on players who I think are underpriced, overpriced. And then later this week I'm gonna start making some videos. Probably use a tier list. It's a rank bunch of $1, $0 players. Just because a lot of these drafts. That's probably going to be that's pretty much going to be the rest of our team. Maybe one more guy that's um, you know little more than a couple dollars. Um, but yeah, and make sure to before you do your auction draft, check out like the league you're in, the settings. For example, if it's like a 6 point passing touchdown for quarterbacks instead of a four, might want to boost up players like Joe Burrow, those pocket passers. Um, yeah, so we got Jalen Waddle here. I think Waddle's gonna have a good year. Not super high on him this year. Slightly below consensus, but if Tyreek does get hurt, I think he can be really good. You have Brandon Aubrey here. Yeah, it's just kind of annoying, nominating kickers and defensive special teams. It's a mock draft. So we go into draft summary, kind of see who the 12 most expensive players were. You can see, at top 14 most expensive players. We have two of them. Got Malik and Puka. Um, actually, let me see. Yes, sort. This is the summary. Hold up. Let me see if I can see the 12 most expensive. We actually have. It's gonna be hard to check. We got two of like the one, two, three, four, five, six. We got two of the most ninth most expensive players. So, you know, that's always good. We got Chase Brown here. So we took a big gap here. Didn't really end up getting anybody for a while. No, my turn. Nominated player. Shoot. Let's do Rome Odunze. Not super high on Rome this year. Um, just think there's just so many mouths to feed in that offense. It didn't look great last year. I'd rather someone else spend eight $9 on him. We got Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard. I think he could be good. Um, just coming out yesterday was news that Tajay Spears is probably going to miss the rest of preseason. That's the case. Pollard will he'll jump up my rankings. Without Spears, I'd be cool with paying keeping him in the same range as players like like Chuba Hubbard or something like that, James Conner. So here we can see if we just turn on um, if you just turn on the max bids, you can see we're not really competing with this person. They have 79. This person's got 14. Um, he also doesn't have a tight end, so he'll probably go into the next tight end that's nominated. We're not competing with that many people, so a good spot to be in. I like our roster. Um, a bunch of your points are going to be coming from a couple of your players. Yeah, all these players have relatively low floors, but all of them have extremely high ceilings. So like this guy's going to go tight end here. Makes a lot of sense. He doesn't have it. That's gonna make it easier for us. We'll see when he gets them. Yeah, so he's got $11 to spend. We got 9. Like George Pickens. George Pickens is interesting. He's definitely not going to be the number one in his offense, but there's a lot of passing play going around. He could do well. So players here that I'm liking. Most likely not going to be any of these. Either Pacheco or Tracy. I'm cool with. They both have good upside. Might have to go with two cheaper tight ends. There's a lot of tight ends. I'm not really a huge fan of Kelsey or Andrews at $4. Brian Robinson's a good deal at $3. What I always recommend is, when you get to this part of the draft, um, whoever the league manager is, just have them drop the time down to for both nominating and bidding. Just make it a little easier for everyone. Well, you can't do that in a mock draft. They can get pretty long. Most people leave by now, as you can see. Only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only about half of the people who joined are actually still here. So this is the range you only see a lot of rookies. Matthew Golden, R.J. Harvey, Caleb Johnson. Rookies can be good, especially towards the end of the year. Some of these though, no, not super high draft. They're not like first rounders, except for Matthew Golden, Chris Godwin. Right now, it's kind of cloudy with his injury. Nobody really knows when he's coming back or if he's coming back. He's already is old, so he was someone I was high on at the beat. Earlier in the off season, I assumed he would, be back, practicing now, good to go for week 1. That doesn't look the case. So I'm still gonna nominate someone here who, I don't want. Um, Cooper Cup this year. I mean, I'm high on JSN, but He's younger, coming off a great year. Cooper Kupp hasn't been healthy since 2021. Um, let someone else pay $5. All right, we can do quick offer check. So we're competing with roughly only like three people. We're competing with, this person got 70, but as you'll see, when people have a lot of money left over and they start getting a lot of these people, they'll actually run out of roster spots. So, you'll get your pick of the litter when it comes to, those $2 or $1 draft picks. And those are some of my favorite players to get. Just last year was a great year to go zero running back. Some of these, cheap players were, Chuba Hubbard, Chase Brown, Zach Moss, um, Tyrone Tracy, a lot of cheap running backs. I'm cool with Pacheco, so I'll do $4 here. Maybe get that flex spot situated. Someone else wants 5. You can have him. He's done bidding. We're not gonna give him anymore. We're gonna try to leave here with Tyrone Tracy. I think he's a great value. Scatterbo's not looking as healthy as people wanted. He's already leaving practices early. He wasn't drafted that high either. So we got Dak here. I actually like Dak. I'm cool with doing $2 on him. Yes, he wants Dak. He's got CD. He most likely wants that that Cowboys stack. I might push it if I had more money. We get an extra dollar out of him, but it's not really worth it. Jacoby Myers, really good value. 6. Yeah, see, this guy's gonna get a lot of them. But you just look at his team. It's a bunch of kind of bunch of average. Not really, not super. Not anybody that's gonna really pop off every single week or given it any given week. So we got Bo Nix. Bo Nix is interesting. He's typically nominated around this time, and his price. Not pay $5 if you wanted him. There's like good quarterback values here. Brock Purdy at $3 is good. Assuming that's the same price Dak went for. This person, see, this is an auto drafter. This is where it gets a little unrealistic. They already have Lamar. They're not gonna go for their quarterback. Kyler, same. I'll do $3. We got some money to spend. He's shown he can be an elite quarterback in the past. Wasn't great last year by any means, but he was still a solid quarterback. That rushing ability is very underrated. So we got Kyler. It's another starter in. You can see we currently have a max value. We do $7, but I don't want to be doing that on a player just yet. Some of these people already are at $1, and even at $2, you're cooked because if one person bids, you can't bid on them. Or if they start the bidding at $2, like I probably will for a lot of these players. It's not a good idea. So we're gonna have to go probably two tight ends here. Not something I love to do. It's just the tight end position is really weird this year. There's 2 guys that are maybe 3 guys that are really really good, and then it kind of just drops off. Price kind of reflects that, but there's just a lot of good $1, $1 and below tight ends for this season. Chris Olave, good player, bad offense. 1 concussion away from leaving the league. He's just not really kind of what I'm looking for right now. I might be able to get one more player for $3, $4 that I like. If we can get Tyrone Tracy for $3 or $4, I'm cool with that. You can see right here, max offers. This person can't compete. They can't compete. They might. So if we do $4, I'm cool with doing $4. Tracy said he's a great player. cool putting him in the flex. I'm assuming we're gonna get some other players here that we're gonna be able to start week 2. So we got Tyrone Tracy here. Good value. I have him at roughly $6. I don't have it $6, so we're cool here. So now it's right now I don't want to spend any more than $2 on any player, just based on our budget. So I'll queue him. So some players that I'm eyeing up now are Shakir, Tucker Craft. We're actually going to nominate Jalen. Who do you think is going to go for the most here? I think Brian Roberts might go for the most. So we're nominating him. Get his prices up. Like I'll take a shot at the Jacksonville backfield. Take a shot at maybe the Dallas backfield. Those are two teams where you'll know by the end of week 1, who's the guy, who's not, who you can drop. So I mean, a lot of these players, not a lot of them, but a good amount of these players you see here that you draft. I mean, they'll be going by week 2. It's your team right now. We got a strong quarterback. Good running backs. Got 3 good running backs. Got 2 elite wide receivers. The strength of our team. I mean, I really like it. Plus 2, if you can really, you can really decipher who's going to be those high upside players that are $1 and below. I mean, I think it's a really good skill to have, especially when you're going heavy early. You're getting those elite players. So Shakir went here. Probably leave it for a dollar. There's some other wide receivers I really like. For example, like Buka, I think is with Godwin out. I mean, his price is $1. It might go up a little for the draft. You got to leave with him. He could legitimately finish top 12 in the position if he's running those same routes and getting those same targets that Godwin got last year. I mean, Godwin was, before he got hurt, I think he was the wide receiver 2 in PPR leagues. I think Buka was a first round pick. He was always playing alongside elite guys at Ohio State, and he still was able to produce. He's a good pick. Probably gonna end up going Tucker Craft here. I like the budget, about $2 to $1. On my bench spots. Not a huge fan of going 2 quarterbacks. We got a top 8 guy, top 9 guy, I would say, in Kyler Murray. No need to really pay more on that position. A lot of the quarterbacks, you can get them off the waiver wire. So what I think I'm going to do here is, this is where the draft can kind of get long in mock drafts. I'll add a screenshot at the end of the video of my final team with how much I paid. You can see here we'll spend $2. Hopefully get Tucker Craft. I think he could be great. Great to end this year. Good offense, good quarterback. Did well last year. See him step up this year. So we'll finish filling out our starting lineup, and then I will place a screenshot at the end with the team who we have, who we ended up with. So that way you can you're stuck here watching this. Make sure to check out the description below. You can get this, the cheat sheet. I recommend using this for your mock drafts and especially your actual draft. Check out the videos we got on the channel. We got nomination videos, strategy videos, roster building strategy videos. Feel free to leave a comment. I'm always down to help auction drafters out. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.